Hello, it's Andrew from Sea Run Fly and Tackle, and today I'm going to show you how to rig up pink worms, my 4 favorite ways for steelhead fishing. So we're going to need to start, of course, with some leader line and some hooks, and I'll use both octopus hooks and jig hooks for this. And the hook size and the leader line size, that can be determined by, of course, where we're fishing and the size of the worms we're using. Pink worms, we're going to have a little bit of a variety of sizes and colors, so I like to have sort of as small as like a 2-inch worm. We got a 4-inch, a 6-inch worm, and then a variety of pink colors: light pink, dark pink, bubblegum pink, hot pink, fluorescent pink, you name it. Clear drift worms, Hawkeye tackle worms. Those are favorite worms. They're made locally here in BC. We really like those for steelhead fishing. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. We're going to need to have make sure we have a sewing needle. Anything from a 2 to a 6-inch sewing needle will work for this. I have pre-tied leaders here. So this has one of my Gamakatsu #1 hooks on it. I've already pre-tied that with a 15-pound Seaguar fluorocarbon leader. And I put a little plastic bead. I've just slid that onto the line already, so we got those right here. The bead's just going to act as a bumper, and I'm going to thread the worm onto the line. So that's why we're going to need the sewing needle. So I'm going to start by getting my needle. Got my pre-tied leader here. All right, you can see, we're going to slide that needle on to the leader line. We're going to take the worm, and I'm going to have this tail dangling down towards the hook, and I want it dangling, so I'm going to not stick the worm right into the tail. I'm going to go up the worm maybe an inch or so. Again, this is a 4-inch worm. We're going to get that sewing needle just kind of impregnated right into the plastic, and I'm going to feed it. We're going to make sure we keep that needle right inside the plastic. We're going to feed it till it comes right out of the nose of the worm. Right, and then we can just, with a little bit of care, slide it down the leader line. You can see the leader's through the needle, and then when I pull it down, that's just going to feed it now onto that leader line. We'll slide that down, covering up the worm, but we'll show you in just a sec what that looks like. Alright, so now we have just a dangling worm, stinger hook right at the tail. Steelhead smashes that. I'm going to go back up to the top of the leader. I just want to show you where when I fed that worm onto the line with the sewing needle, it just creased the line there. We got a bit of a weak spot in the leader, so I'm just going to get rid of that. All right, so now this one's ready to go. So that's traditional pink worm rigging. Now I'm going to get wild and crazy, and I'm going to rig one the opposite way. So this is the secret way of rigging pink worms. We're going to rig them backwards. If I can hang on to my sewing needle. I'm getting excited about this one. So same thing. Just got to be able to feed that line through. I got a 6-inch worm here. Instead of going in the tail, what I'm going to do is go in the nose. And it's just going to be reversed. I'm going to leave about an inch or inch and a half, 2 inches of the tail dangling. But instead of dangling over the hook, being a backwards worm rig, we're going to have it dangling up above the hook. So I've just fed that needle into the worm. Right, we're going to try and keep that needle right inside of the worm the whole time. I don't want the needle coming out until we're ready to push the line out. So now I've left a couple inches of tail there, so we're going to get that wiggling in the water. The worm will swim a little bit nicer when the tail's wiggling, whether it's on the top or the bottom of the hook. That helps aggravate the steelhead and want to make them come kill that worm in the water. So there's your backwards pink worm, right? Same setup, tail up, tail down. Both ways work. Different ways to try. Same thing where I have the little bit of damage on the leader line here. I'm just going to cut that. Make sure I have all my line strength I need for reeling in big steelhead. That's what we hope to do, so we'll just leave that one right there. Now I'm going to show you, again with a pre-tied leader, I'm going to go down to this little baby worm. These work great in clear water, low water conditions for steelhead. Just going to show you a simple Wacky rig, just as easy as just putting the hook. I'm just going to put that hook point right into the middle of the worm. Get the whole length of the point, maybe a little bit longer into the bend of that hook into the worm, and then just slide it right on. Right, so that just, whether it's tail up or tail down again, kind of hook right in the middle so it flops around a lot. So we can do this rig with the small worm, we can do it with the 4 or the 6-inch worm. Same thing, we can, we can flip any of these worms into any of these different rigs, no problem. So that's the 3 ways I'm going to use that with an octopus hook. Now I'm going to just show you simply putting it on a jig hook. Again, have my pre-tied leader line. When I'm using a jig hook for steelhead, I like to use like a 1/16 ounce, a 1/8 ounce, a 1/4 ounce. And that's just going to sink that worm a little bit quicker into some faster water, into the deeper spots. It twitches the worm a little bit differently than when we have it on the octopus hook, so it's a really good technique. Good to have a variety of techniques, of course. It's a really good technique to present the worm for steelhead. Get them angry and make them want to bite it. We're just going to take the hook point, going to put it right into the nose of that worm. We're going to keep that hook inside of the worm. We don't want it coming out, just like we were doing with the needle. Keep it inside. And I'm going to want to basically have that hook shank covered with the worm body. And we have a bunch of the tail hanging behind it. Hooks basically ends up being right in the middle. And then that just dangles and twitches really nicely in the water as well. So with those 4 different worm setups, I can really confidently go out to the river steelhead fishing and know with any one of them in the water, I got a really good chance at catching a steelhead and having all 4 of them ready to go. And that's what I want to do. I want to have them ready to go. So I'm going to put them on one of these leaderboards. Once I'm done tying them, I'll string them up on the leaderboard. Now they're really ready to go. That'll be with me on the river. And then that way I know I can switch different sizes, different colors. Just to trigger a bite, or maybe you've had a bite that you've missed on a certain color or size, you put another one out there and all of a sudden that fish wants to come back and bite where it might have been tired of the first one you were showing it. So variety's good. Pink worms, really like top artificial bait for steelhead fishing. Got to have them in your arsenal. Clear drift worms, Hawkeye tackle worms, excellent in a variety of sizes and colors. We have them all here at the store. So I really hope that guy helps you understand, how simple it is to fish pink worms and rig them up so they're ready to go. And we're here to help with any of your steelhead fishing. We have lots of videos on YouTube. Smash the like button. Give us a like for this video. Give us a follow. And there's lots out there as far as steelhead fishing, salmon fishing, knot tying. Lots of really good fishing information that we're offering. So give us a like, and thanks for watching the video. Good luck on the water.